I'm here from Tucson Youth Poetry Slam. I'm not from Tucson, I live in Douglas, which is about a 2-hour drive for whoever hasn't been there. And recently we started a thing in Douglas called Bordertown Voices. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/BordertownVoices. Right now it's just a Facebook page, but we're trying to get that started and do some voice down in Douglas too. So if you guys get with the page, then you guys can see what's coming up and maybe go to an event down there. Anyways, this poem is about anyone who's ever tried to conceal their cultural identity despite it being pronounced by the color of your skin. In recent years, I had my mind fixated on the idea that I was too cool to embrace my Mexican culture, which, looking back, is pretty stupid considering just a few years ago I couldn't speak proper English. I couldn't speak English until I was thrown into a classroom that forced me to speak nothing else. I'm not sure how they intended on teaching me the language using nothing but. I do not live in Tucson, where orgullo burns like the desert sun, where the streets harbor a generation of coyotes whose insomnia is fueled by the struggle to balance two cultures. No, I live in a small town named after a white man who was good to his brown workers, Douglas. And sure, the landscaping is not quite that. Sure, the climate is slightly cooler and the landscaping is more mountain than it is desert, but my house is a 5-minute walk from the Mexican border where I can be seen on a weekly basis grabbing an assortment of chuchulucos, dulces, papitas, y una coca light para la dieta. Thinking back, how did it become too cool to embrace my blood? When I grew up eating sabritas con salsita while playing Grand Theft Auto en las maquinitas y Mario en el Nintendo. As a child, a handful of monedas, tazos, canicas, y trompos were all I needed to be happy. When Dragon Ball Z era una necesidad. However, when I was in the 1st grade, I was put into my district's gifted program. Then suddenly, knowing English and all about stupid American pop culture made me feel smart. A dangerous feeling. Saddening, considering just a few years ago I couldn't speak proper English. Saddening, porque mi mamá no dejó a su tierra para que yo la olvidara. In 3rd grade, we covered a unit on Latino poets and I could just not relate. However, I could relate to German expressionism, I could relate to Russian literature, I could relate to Japanese haiku, but how could that be when I never rubbed dirt off my bloody knees in Germany? I was never given a bath with a garden hose in Russia, and I never rode a burro in Japan. I notice now, I get a little angry when people ask me if I'm Filipino. I get a little angry when people are surprised to hear me speak Spanish. I get a little angry when people call me Eva porque me llamo Eva. I notice now that tough exterior has been penetrated by a passion like no other, and I'm glad, because a lot of times el orgullo is all we have. Thank you.
I go to Santa Rita High School, I'm 16, and fun fact about my poetry, I personify a lot of it, so it's not love, it's personified from drugs. When we suffer together, it is different. Masking our mistakes with lies, we become one. Joined together, we are lovers unheard of. Sharing a kiss of sweet desperation, lips locked on the moment of truth. Our hands trembled over each other's foreign bodies of blood and suffering. Holding each other close to the pits of forgiveness and redemption, letting the fire lick our sins, soothing the pain. We became one as you forced your dishonesty into my circle of trust. I rejecting your putrefied venom, and we broke apart. Change is inevitable, and you cling to the moments where we became one, forgetting when we were separate nations lost in the swirls of insanity. Now we are separate unities. All is permeable, nothing is solid. One equals none, equals I, equals you, equals separate unities, with lost combination codes to either soul. When we suffer together, it is different. We become our lies, masking our pain, searching for truth inside one another. We cannot be defined. None is non-existent. I can be profound. while you will never change. So I will go my separate way.
Raise your hand if you've ever been to the Tucson Youth Poetry Slam. Alright, that's a lot of hands. So the Tucson Youth Poetry Slam happens once a month, the third Saturday of every month at Bentley's House of Coffee and Tea right there off of Camelot Speedway. You guys can stop by and see us there. Workshop starts at 5 o'clock, Slam starts at 7. And we're there every single month, third Saturday. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, all that social media stuff. My name is Jose Martinez. I've been slamming for about 2 years. I remember I did this event almost exactly 2 years ago. It was my first ever event that I did outside of Types. And hopefully I've grown since then. But so this is the 10 Commandments of being Mexican. Number 1. Thou shalt eat tortillas and frijoles with every meal, even on Thanksgiving, because you know your turkey could always use a little bit of salsa. Number 2. Always respect your nana, abuela, abuelita, because you know she'll beat your ass, cabrón, even if she's under 5 feet tall. Number 3. Don't let anyone make fun of your shoes just because you got them at the swap meet. They don't understand that churros, kettle corn, bars, good deals, and a random guy selling his chickens is a cool place to spend your Friday and Saturday nights. Number 4. The day the minority becomes a majority is closer than we think. And no ignorant, unfair, inhumane law will get in our way. Number 5. Look into your mother's eyes and swear to her that you will make it in this world, and you will make something of yourself. And every burrito she rolled, every taco she served, every restaurant she worked in, every insult spit in her face by bosses who abused the fact that she had no papers, every trailer park, every sleepless night counting numbers that will never make ends meet, making sure we had a damn tortilla in our stomachs will not go to waste because that one tortilla in my stomach has become a fire. And I will redeem myself, Mom. I will redeem myself, and everything you did for us will not go to waste. Number 6. Don't forget where you came from. Whether you're Cruz, Chavez, Martinez, Lopez, Garcia, Gonzalez, or any other name, don't forget where you came from. Number 7. French is not the language of love. Lo siento por los que nunca van a saber lo caliente que es el lenguaje español. El amor y hermoso que es cada palabra que corre por mis venas hispanas. Número 8. Can you hear the sweat drip? Dripping puddles of generations into the dirt, evaporating in the hot desert sun like we never existed. The 8 commandments, the sound of his knees dropping to the ground, jagged pebbles of an American dream stabbing into his knees, lost somewhere between Rio Rico and the family praying to Virgen de Guadalupe to protect him from the green monsters that guard this land of opportunity, not knowing that God is no longer the only one that can judge you once you're in the land of America. Number 9. Don't let them take away years of blood, sweat, and tears, books, classrooms, racial discrimination. What's next? Will history repeat itself? I dare you to try to burn through this callous skin. The harder it gets, the harder we work. You say we're worthless and we take your jobs? Do you know what hard work your Mexican hands taste like? Try not to choke on your tomatoes. Number 10. Always remember that no matter how much soap you use, you'll always be brown.
Alright, thanks again just to the wonderful community that we have from Tucson, Southern Arizona, Northern Arizona. We have some folks from out of town too. Just thanks for bringing all your energy to the space right now for, again, this wonderful organization, Alianza, Indigena, Fronteras. So this is really good times tonight. It's just good to hear all of our stories that we carry, and I feel like each of the footsteps that we walk in carry our stories. Each breath that we give out carries that stories, and we have to honor that too with putting that energy forward with our words. So the way that we share poetry, just spoken word, written word anyway, is just a really beautiful, just that transfer of energy, and that the fact that we're sharing this with all each other is really good honor to be a part of this. So this is a piece I wrote called Colors of Maps, Musics, and Medicines. Our colors are not our own, but the colors of the landscapes, regions, and territories our ancestors stepped on before us, where they were created, where the mountains laughed life into our bodies, and where the waters breathed being into our souls. We carry that map all in our skin, dark as the earth, reflecting off golden rays of kissed sunlight, complementing our tones quite naturally, quite well. For me, my color is my badge of honor, my shield, my defense, my sign to others. I am from a line of survivors. Of course, I will survive anything you throw at me. My tint is my red and black flag. I wave in defiance, in pride, in challenge. Come at me with all you've got. Of course, I will survive your daggers. Just the feat of me breathing here and existing here today is a tribute to what honorable breath fills my lungs and what strong blood flows through my veins. I walk, I sing, I dance, I speak, I live with proud blood inside of me, which came from the Four Corners areas whose red rocks gave its color, which came from the springs deep within Sycamore, whose waters gave its flow, and from the bay, rooted from Texas, rooted from Mississippi, rooted from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade, from which region I cannot tell you, that journey gave its heat. An unending resilience that refuses to give up, even when I wanted to so badly. That blood kept me here, kept me alive. Carrying a hidden strength inside myself that brought me all the way to this point in time today, where in my body flows the waters of Kapowenge and the red earths of Dene territory. This blood surviving the chains and the whips, the ocean ride from hell, where a casketless grave at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean was a better alternative for young babies. Some African mothers were forced to compromise, while just in chains and human waste beneath the bows of the ships with the cargo and gunpowder. I carry the 1680 Pueblo rebellions in my veins, my chest, my cry. Oh! Santa Clara from Summer Clan, Haje, and Navajo from Nanesh Tabaha, whose tales I can't even tell you just yet. Just that I know I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. The tint to my red skin and the curl to my hair is proof to that. In me rests deep obsidian knowledge, lost, yet found in each breath, pouring through my veins, curling my hair and tinting my skin. Mahogany, yes, I am that black woman. Jazz singing through my body, that low edge in our voice to purge the body's historic memory of the cold feel of shackles upon our skin and the forceful touch of the white master. And yet, still, despite such hellish environments, two African men with two African women found each other, fell in love, and nurtured the new lives they created, all leading this point in time today, 2014, where I breathe long life into my hands. Waiini. In prayer, in medicine, from where roses grow near water. Yes, Santa Clara and Navajo blood flowing side by side to connect Africa here, the Southwest, my place of creation since time memoriam. Yet while the other half of me lost that ancient connection to the earth long ago, stolen from our land, where only the strongest survived, that ocean trip from hell. I walk with the duality like no other. One foot steps in Mother Africa, and one steps foot here, in the Americas. Heel over sacred red earth's toes dipped in sacred silent waters. So I tell you, feast your eyes upon my powerful black and red body, for I have nothing to hide. My face lifted up toward the heavens, towards the gold of the sun soaking into my hair. Curls, 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 ringlets down my shoulders, light from all the guilt. Does my stance offend you? Do my curves offend you? The fact that my neck is stretched so far back, held high for all the world to see when you think I should have only remained in shadows. I am a beautiful black woman, like Nefertiti, like Nzinga, a queen. Sacred corn everywhere I walk, I am a beautiful red earth woman. Every step I take is a ceremony. Yes, does my body offend you? Words ridding myself clean from the silence, too sexy, too vulgar, when my dark skin is showing? Well, my body is my palace, and every brick and stone laid down was an act of labor and love like no other. From all those that came before me, suffering for this same tint of flesh and curve of breast and thigh. Our colors are not our own, but the colors of the landscapes, regions, and territories our ancestors stepped on before us, where they were created, where the mountains laugh life into our bodies and where the waters breathe being into our souls. We carry that map all in our skin, dark as the earth, reflecting off golden rays of kissed sunlight, complementing our tones quite well, quite naturally. For me, my color is my lifeline, my maps, my medicine, my music, my treasure, my stories, my voice, my words, my greatest strength of all. Thank you.